ever seen the video on YouTube labeled South Island Nationalism brackets sin, as in like you did a bad? There's a video. If you haven't, you need to go check it out. Basically, it lines out the fact that anything to do with South Island nationalism, sin, or South Island independence, or South Island movement, any of that, it's a bad and it's against the will of God. What a load of crock. You should go check it out. It's got this really cool ass beat to it. It is amazing. But you look up South Island independence, you look up the South Island going alone, you see a South Island movement, any of that, South Island nationalism, whatever you want to call it, that's the only video you're going to find about South Island nationalism in New Zealand. And it's kind of weird. So I wanted to, I'm going to a trade show down in Dunedin, so I figured, you know what, I've got a couple of hours to spare, I might as well, have my say on the matter. As most of you know, I am somewhat involved in said South Island nationalism, independence movement, free the South, cut the cable. I'm kind of involved in that sphere, if you know anything about me, so sure, it's a little bit biased, but here we go. So I figured I'd just make this video or a couple of videos, and we'll see how we go, and we'll see if we get any good content. And hey, maybe you'll enjoy some of it. Maybe you'll have a laugh. Hey, this guy's got a funny haircut and no teeth. It's great. Real hillbilly from down in the deep south. You know what I'm saying? And who knows? You might actually find some interesting information in it. Now, obviously, I'm here. I'm going for a drive. I don't have any flashcards or stats or anything else like that available off the top of my head. I will give you guys as good as information as I can. I am in the process of writing a book that details the South Island going independent, why it needs to happen, why it's a good thing, and all the arguments for it. When we're ready to release that book, and once I've got all the details that I think are solid in there, we'll release it. It's not going to be a big book. The arguments are pretty straightforward, simple. It lays out what the South Island needs to become independent. It goes through the needs of what is recognised as a functional country. It does carry the UN definition. I am not exactly a big fan of the UN, but it's kind of a bit like paper money. It's you believe it because everybody believes it, and here's the standard rules. So it includes that. So it includes things like you need a physical location, you need a permanent population, you need some sort of a government set up. Otherwise it's anarchical, and the world is going to go, hey, we're going to share peace and freedom and democracy here, and we see around the world how good a time that is. And it needs a means of communicating with other powers in the world, other governments, etc., etc. Well, the South Island, we've got an island. We've got a couple of islands actually that would fall under South Island jurisdiction. The Stewart Island, the Auckland Islands, Campbell Island, all those, sub-Arctic Islands. I reckon we've got a pretty good claim on the Arctic claim itself. If you're asking my honest opinion, I think that would be great. As far as the Chatham Islands go, I reckon we just go to the Chatham Islands and go, hey, look, it's about the same distance boat ride from Wellington to the Chathams or Christchurch to the Chathams. Who do you want to go with? So I reckon we give them a choice, because they've got a permanent population of themselves. So they've got that right to self-determination and where they want to go forward. So there's that. So we've got the physical territory, right? Permanent population. Well, there's a few people living here. 1.1 something million people, so tick tick, we've got a physical location, we've got a permanent population. Now in the event the South Island does go independent, that population will flux a little bit, as there are obviously people in the south who don't like the idea of going independent, and that's fine. They're more than welcome to that opinion. And then you've got a lot of people in the North Island and places like Australia and such like that. A lot of expats, Kiwis and expat South Islanders around the world who would be mad keen on coming back if the South Island was independent. So, there'd be a bit of a flux. So whether we'd go a larger population or a lesser population, who knows? We'll see what happens. So there's that, but no, there's a permanent population here, and I stand to reason that not everybody's going to abandon the south if the south cuts the cable. It's a popular idea, has been for a long time, coming up 170 years now. It's been a popular idea, the South Island going independent. There's historical precedent there, but that's another story. So we've got the island, we've got the population, we need a government. So how are we going to do a government, right? So the first thing you need is you need a group of people who all go, yes, the South Island should be independent. We're going to do our best to orchestrate that and manage that, and we'll see what happens. The ideal situation would be to set up a Southern Parliament and hold, our own South Island elections, ask the people of the South who they want leading them in this new era of independence and freedom. So there's that. So we're working on that, and if you look up the South Island Independence Movement, or the SIM, S-I-I-M, we're working towards that. We're working towards making that happen. At the time of the making of this video, we have just shy of 16,000 likes on our Facebook page. So, we're getting there. And in our Facebook group, we have 1,400 plus people in there. So, we've got a little bit of something happening. It's starting. It's not just one or two guys, it's actually quite a few people. So that's the work in progress. The next step above that is having a mechanism for communicating with other countries and other governments around the world. Communicating with the likes of Donald Trump shouldn't be hard. You just say yo real Donald Trump on Twitter and you should have his attention. Hey look, we've got oil, what up? No. It's a story for another time. So, we've got the internet, we've got email, this shouldn't be hard. We just have a secretary for the independent South Island, whatever it's going to be called. And hey presto, that's all you need to become an official country. The process of getting there is a little harder, to be sure. It's not without precedent that we are living in an age in the world today where there are a lot of regions who are pushing for independence, where there's massive pushes for regionalisation. We've tried this globalist experiment for a while, and the trade's great. Don't get me wrong. The trading, the being able to trade with people, the global commerce, the global market, that's great. It's the manipulation of control of borders, internal policy, global pressures for, here, you need to plant X number of trees or you're bad people. People are kind of getting sick of, people want control of their own borders, people want control of their own economies, people want control of their own laws. And they don't want to be pushed around by big global organization, multinational corporations, and the like. People want to say, look, this is our country, this is the way we're doing it, you don't like it, sod off, we don't want to deal with you. And that sentiment is going through the roof all over the world in the form of regionalism, nationalism, Brexit, Trump, etc., etc. People have had enough. We've tried this globalist experiment and people are over it. We're like, hey, look, that was cool, that was fun. Let's not do that again for a while, or maybe ever. It's human nature to want to have a say in the functionality of your own backyard. We tried rising above our own basic human nature, and you know what? I think it's kind of bitten us in the ass, and that's okay. We tried it, it didn't work. Moving on. So, There's loads of countries around the world doing this. Scotland, Catalonia, like I said, Brexit, just to name a few. From there, it's a case of what the South Island economy would look like, how would we do things, and that simply comes down to the fact of we have great agriculture. Like, we have fantastic agriculture. Our farmers, some of them are a bit rough around the edges, but for the most part, most farmers are actually give a damn. So, you know, we can't, the few give the majority a bad name, that happens. But the quality of our exports has historically been very, very, very high quality. So we won't have a problem trading with the UK. We won't have a problem trading with Australia, Japan, Singapore, Asia. Asia has massive food shortages, so there's no reason why the South Island can't act as the bread bowl of Australasia. That's not a problem, that works. Tourism is fantastic, especially down here in the South Island, because we have real mountains. Sorry, North Island, you've got a couple of, you know, but other than that, you know, you want real mountains, you come to the South Island. You want like the most amazing scenery in New Zealand, it's all down south. We're looking Fiordland, we're looking Mount Cook, we're the Southern Alps, the Catlins, you name it, it's down in the South Island. Tourism will not be a problem. People are not going to stop coming here just because there's a change in government system. Hey look, roadworks. I'm on my way to a meeting in Oamaru right now. Supposed to be at 10:30/10:45, and there's roadworks. This is great. Anyway, more time to talk with you guys, eh? So tourism's not going to be a problem. There's a lot of areas we can improve on tourism. Freedom camping is a problem. I'm sorry, if people are going to come here, we want people that can actually spend the money on the high quality luxury end of tourism. If you're coming here on a working holiday and you're going around picking up cafe jobs and fruit packing jobs, etc., etc., to pay for your vacation here, sorry, I'm sure you're lovely people, but we just don't want your demographic, okay? We want people who are going to come here, they're going to respect our environment, they're going to respect our culture and our customs. They're not going to take giant turds on people's private property, which has been happening increasingly as we've had more freedom campers coming in. So we want the luxury end of tourism. One of the areas that we can definitely improve that is, and I talk about this in the book that I'm working on, setting up a luxury coach rail system that goes around the South Island. Obviously not a full loop. The Haas Pass is a bit of a bit tricky on some of those points, but around the vast majority of the South Island, connecting all the major towns, all the major destinations via a rail link, a specific tourist rail link. Like, think about it. You jump on a train and you tour the entire island in the space of a week, maybe 2 weeks. There's you can sleep on the train, you look at the scenery, and the scenery in the south is amazing. And like, you know, the restaurant cart is right there, the bar car is there. You don't have to drive on the roads, because our roads in the South Island are a little bit tricky. You know, they haven't exactly been maintained for a while, because, you know, we've been funding Auckland's sky bridges and you know, stadiums and roading projects and stuff like that. So our roads are a little bit shocking, to be quite honest, and even the best of us struggle on South Island roads. Let alone poor tourists who are used to perfect and pristine roads from elsewhere. So if you've got a luxury train coach that goes around the island, you don't have to have a single tourist on our roads. They can all go on the train, they can have the absolute time of their life, and they can leave the island having the best time without a bad thing to say about any of it. And all the little towns around the island, wherever these trains stop, you really encourage the local tourist guide industry. You look at places like Hawaii, and you have local tour guides that take you to all the best spots. You do that for the South Island as well. So, you know, there's areas you can work on there. Obviously, one of our best exports is going to be electricity. because you know what? We've got the power in the South Island, and I don't advocate for cutting the cable. I reckon we should put a meter on the cable and all those in the North Island, and you know, there's nearly, well, in the next 10 years there's going to be 4 million of them to 1 million of us, and we just don't use that much power, and they're going to need power supply. So I reckon the South Island does a little bit of work on upping the ampage on the old power production, and we charge the North Island for power. You know, it makes sense. We've been funding all their projects for a long time. You know what? They can pay a little power and we can start to recoup a little bit of that cost. You know, we won't be too harsh on it, but I definitely think electricity is going to be a big export for the South, and it's going to be great. So we're not cutting the cable, we're just charging the North Island for the use of said power. And the argument there goes, oh well, electricity goes both ways. Yes, there have been a couple of cases where we have seen too much power north and then we need a little bit of it back during the winter, but over 97-98% of power that goes across that cable all goes north. The few exceptions to that, like I said, have been times where we've just sent too much power north, and we need a little bit of it back because, you know, we wanted to keep the lights on down in Invercargill and Dunedin. You know, who can blame us, right? No cheeky comments. No, it's okay. So, you know, there's that. So there's the power, there's the tourism, there's the agriculture. As far as the agriculture goes, just touching on that point again, I definitely think targeting the luxury end of foodstuffs is the way to go. Just because, look, if you make the food extra good, people are going to pay a little extra money, and we need a little bit of extra money, you know. I do apologise for the rattling in the car. Like I said, trade show in Dunedin, there's a lot of loose bits in the back. It's great. Woohoo! So there's that. So we've got food, we've got power, we've got tourism, junk. Who'd have thought junk could be a profitable exercise? One of the things, again, I talk about this in the book, one of the things that you see in the likes of Tokyo, or, you know, for the environmental side of things, plastics take forever to break down. I'm completely sidestepping the entire question of climate change. Global pollution, especially plastics pollution, is a real big problem for the globe. And, you know, New Zealand, in comparison to the likes of China, India, the Philippines, etc., New Zealand doesn't produce a lot of plastic, but for what we do, there's a bit of it. So, how are we going to deal with this plastics problem? Well, we can actually make money off this plastics problem in several ways. We can make money and we can save some money. If you look in Tokyo, amazingly clean, by the way. Singapore, Europe, they don't really have massive plastics problems. Why? Because they have waste-to-energy power plants. Now, what a waste-to-energy power plant, and I know there's a bit of there's a stigma around it because a lot of the greenies go, oh, you're burning plastic, that's infinite, like instant bad. Well, no, it's not. Because when you have a waste-to-energy plant burning at 1,200 degrees centigrade, nothing survives. There is no plastic left after that. Then you have all the flue gases, they get scrubbed, all the leftovers, all the metals, all the non-combustibles, they get turned into asphalt for the roading, which we need some of, you know. And it is incredibly clean. There is literally no pollution that comes out of a garbage burner when they are done properly and are burning to the right temperature. They are complete clean burn, and there is no pollution. Like the pollution, you're condensing rubbish, and I think you're about 1/20th of the mass is left remaining after a complete burn, and like I said, that goes into industrial production, that goes into asphalt, that goes into non-toxic areas, and the tiny piece that is left over that is toxic what do you want? Do you want 1 kilogram of toxic material, or do you want the 20 tons of toxic material that we're currently throwing into landfills? You tell me. So we could empty all our landfills, and once we've done that, we can start importing rubbish from the North Island, getting rid of all of that. And here's the kicker: when you're burning something at 1,200 degrees Celsius, that's a lot of heat. What happens if you put some water piping around that? You've got hot water for life, man. In Tokyo, though, and all the places where they have waste energy plants, you have these monstrosities, cleaning up the environment faster than, it's inconceivable to what we currently do. So they're cleaning the environment, but the amount of hot water they're producing gives hot water to all the surrounding houses. So all our hospitals, all our schools, all our elderly care, all these places that struggle with heating, hey, you want some free hot water? Because, we've got this garbage burner thing, and it's producing a hell of a lot of steam, which also produces a hell of a lot of power, by the way. Waste energy plants produce an insane amount of electricity on top of what we're already getting off the dams. So it's environmentally friendly, it's cleaning up the environment, it produces a hell of a lot of power, it produces stupid amounts of hot water. Could you imagine all the public swimming pools that are currently really, really cold, when you jump in there, heated for free? What an idea. So you take these waste energy plants, you build them properly. The one in Tokyo, it's one of the biggest in the world, and burns one of the cleanest. It's a beautiful setup. Cost $200 million. The amount New Zealand spends on waste disposal and landfill, one of these waste energy plants would pay for itself in a couple of years, and then pure profit from that point. So, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's a no-brainer. So there's that. So let's clean up the environment, let's get rid of all these plastics, let's actually start cleaning up Oceania, because if we build these things big enough and we start importing from everywhere else, we can clean up a lot of plastics in these things, man, and it's clean, very, very clean. It produces us power, it produces us hot water, and people will pay us for the privilege of getting rid of their garbage. So, there we go. So that's another one on the list. Other things on the list, you're looking at the likes of the hemp industry. Now, hemp, not marijuana, hemp has over 22,000 industrial uses, from fabrication to cars to biofuel to housing material. In New Zealand, we've got housing problems, like leaky homes, we've got another spat of leaky home issues. A lot of these areas can be resolved through hempcrete. Hempcrete is an amazing material, very, very strong, entirely fire resistant. It's hemp, it's ground up hemp fiber and lime and stuff. It doesn't catch fire, it's burning stone, it doesn't work. So there's that. It produces amazing textiles, clothing, you name it. Environmentally friendly. It crops once to twice a year. It produces more pulp than pine can ever do. And the South Island, ironically, has the perfect growing conditions for it. On top of that, you do have the medical marijuana side of things, and New Zealand could produce some of the highest quality medical marijuana products in the world. Like I said, avoiding the entire recreational drug issue, the industrial and medical applications from New Zealand growing hemp are huge, let alone the food aspect. All you vegans out there, hemp is an awesome product, and it requires a lot less pesticides than what we're currently using. So, there's that. So you see, and this isn't even touching on the fact that the South Island is the treasure chest of New Zealand when it comes to mineral and oil wealth. Now, personally, my point of view on it is New Zealand and the South Island should be looking into oil exploration, and oil drilling. However, asterisk, conditions. All of the conditions. So all the big major screw-ups that have happened around the world, there are very clear shortfalls in their security and safety measures that have been breached. Here's the deal. If we set up a oil drilling company or mining company, preferably New Zealand or South Island owned, which would be fantastic, the conditions for operating have to be huge. As far as profits go, like I said, I'd much rather a South Island owned company do this. Maybe we can get a little private-public partnership going so that the country is guaranteed to get a cut out of the oil wealth instead of the likes of BP coming in and giving us, 1% of the value. So there's an option there, but again, needs all the safety measures, needs all the environmental protections, the whole 9 yards, otherwise it's just not going to happen. My opinion is the same for mining. New Zealand, the South Island has a fantastic mining capability and potential, especially on the west coast, which has had a massively hard run, by the way. There's massive potential there. I think it should definitely be looked into under the condition that it is done properly, professionally, and environmentally neutral, where there's any damage done to the environment is restored, and damage to the environment is minimized as a whole. So yeah, those are the economic arguments. So everybody's saying that the South Island couldn't possibly do it because we don't have the economy. That's a load of trollop. The economy we have is robust enough as it is. The South Island currently pays more tax per capita than our North Island counterparts by a factor of, I think, about 2,000. The average South Islander earns about $2,000 a year more than our North Island counterparts, and equal percentage of tax. So we South Islanders earn more and pay more tax. Our economy is entirely self-sufficient as it is. It could get a little bit bumpy around going independent, but I'm sure there's no reason why it wouldn't recover quickly and do very, very well post independence. So yeah, there's no economic reason why the South Island can't go independent. We're self-sufficient economically as it is. We send all this tax north and we just don't get any of it back. Hence why our infrastructure is so crap, is because all our tax money goes into the National Slush Fund, which all gets spent on Auckland, and whoops, we forgot about you, South Island. We didn't even know you were there. Whoopsie. So there's that aspect. So you've got that. Now, and like as far as the social issues are concerned about going independent, yes, there are massive social issues. The South Island and North Island are two very, very different cultures. We have two very different outlooks. The South Island is a much harsher place to survive in. The North Island is very, very comfortable. It's nice, it's warm, it's comfortable. The South Island, it gets wicked hot in the summer and deathly cold in the winter. I'm sorry, you've got to survive that in the South Island. You've got to be made of some tougher stuff. You've got to have some thick skin. So there is that natural difference of outlook, just for the fact that there are environmental differences between North and South. The South Island are harder people. We're more independent people. Number 8 wired to the max. Do-it-yourself attitude. The independent secular spirit. We built this. As far as other social issues go, one of the arguments is, oh, well, I've got family on the other island. And what? I've got family in Australia. It's not that hard to go visit them. It's a flight ticket. And, hey, look, I have to beat my passport. That's it. I don't see it being any different between the North and South post-independence. It's not that complicated. It is a non-argument. Just because you have to beat your passport at the North and South border, whoop-de-doo. I'm sorry, that doesn't negate all the other issues. The fact that the South Island has all this economic potential and it is all being wasted because people in Coromandel or people in Wellington or Auckland go, no, I don't think you should have the right to do that with your own property. So kind of a non-argument there. Other social issues now, one of the things that does come up, and it is contentious, but it does need to be talked about because nobody likes talking about it, is the Maori European issue, I suppose, or the treaty issues, rah. Now this is where I get contentious. The Treaty of Waitangi was signed in Waitangi, which is in the North Island, by all the North Island chiefs. That treaty, which had no input from any South Islanders, European or Maori, we didn't have any input in that. It was then brought down to the South Island going, well, this is what the guys up north have signed, you should sign it too. So we had no input, we had no say, which undermines the entire thing as far as I'm concerned down here in the South Island anyway. As far as contentions, the Maori land wars happened in the North Island. As far as I'm aware by my history, and I have spent a bit of time reading up on it, there was only one European versus Maori conflict in the South Island. It was a skirmish, it was a massacre up in the Nelson Bay areas where a Maori warband went and slaughtered a group of European settlers. I don't remember what the kill count was, but it was something like 15, 20, 30 Europeans killed to 3 Maori killed or injured, one of the two. And that was, like I said, a Maori warband going and killing a whole bunch of European settlers. That's it. That was the Maori land wars in the South Island. Now, there was Maori versus Maori conflicts, but that is in pre-European and early European history. That has always been the case. Arguably, it's still the case. You've got mongrel mob versus black power, and the tribes still don't see eye to eye on a lot of issues. So it's not this lovely unified thing. These contentious issues between Otago and Canterbury, okay? Groups of people have differences and there are squabbles. As far as the social issues between Maori and Europeans in the North Island, it is quite severe. And it gets quite severe in places. In the South Island, no one cares. In the South Island, there is an attitude of, hey, you're surviving the conditions, I'm surviving the conditions, we'd probably survive better if we actually work together. There isn't the contention between European South Islanders and Maori South Islanders. A term I'm quite fond of is the fact that we actually have a really good relationship here in the South Island. We don't have the contention and we all get on really, really well. We all work together, we drink together, we play rugby together, there's no issues there. A term I'm actually quite fond of is the Eurotongan whenua. Yes, I'm European. My family's been here for 7 generations. Has there been intermingling? Probably. 7 generations, man. But I'm part of the land at this stage, as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing for me to go back to in Europe. There's nothing for me to go back to in Scandinavia. My family's been here forever. As far as I'm concerned, I'm one with the land. This is my land. This is my island. No different from the Maori who were here before us. The Europeans have been in the South Island since the whaling colonies and have been intermarrying with Maori since that time. And for that entire time, yes, there have been baseline issues, but other than that, we've always had a really good relationship down here in the South. So, as far as I'm concerned, we are one people in the South. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be. I was having a chat with a chap from Southland, and this guy was tan, man. But this guy was, as far as I could tell, as close, half caste, quarter caste. He was very, very tan. And his comment to me was, his iwi's from Southland. Europeans have been down there forever, and as far as he's concerned, he has more equal amounts of European blood in him. So he didn't see a difference between me and him, and I didn't, and it goes both ways. So I don't see there as an issue there. As far as I'm concerned, we're one people. We don't care the skin colour. We don't care about the lineage. We all love this island. We're all on this island. Leave it at that. We are one people. So this whole contention between European and Maori, it doesn't exist down here in the south like it does in the north, and there is no reason to exacerbate it. So as far as that social issue, there isn't one. Not as far as I'm concerned. And for the iwi and the Maori that I've talked to, and I've talked to your everyday Maori on the street, and I have talked to elders, and I have talked to a couple of chiefs, and it's the same attitude. There is no issue there. We don't have a problem with each other. So that's as far as I'm concerned, that's where it sits, and I'm happy with it. As far as other social issues go, stock standard. South Island has major youth problems. We've got mental health issues. A lot of this, I think, comes from factors. The fact that it is getting more expensive to live in this country, and it's happened very, very fast. The South Island has gone from very affordable to, here we've got loads of Australians, internationals, and North Islanders and Aucklanders buying a lot of property down here, so which is driving up all the property prices. 10 years ago, you could get a 2-bedroom house for under 100k. That's no longer possible. So, there's that issue. So, yeah, as a whole, I don't see any downsides to the South Island going independent. We've got good baseline social unity. We've got good social connection. Our economy is robust and has massive potential for doing a lot better if we were allowed to. And we've got the means. We've got the means. We've got the will. We've got the people, and it is growing. The movement is growing. The membership is growing. We've got ideas. One of the things that we're working on is actually setting up a physical location to set up a Southern Parliament. So that's in the works. It's a long way away, and it's going to need a lot of help. But hey, look, if just everyone on our Facebook page and everybody in our Facebook group gave $5, $10, $25 a week, we would be able to set up a South Island Parliament in 2 years, 2-3 years. We would have enough money to go ahead with it. And we've got some ideas and we've got some plans for the working on that. As far as politics go, what's the point of being in a North Island Parliament when we want our own Parliament? As far as I'm concerned, politics is a means of, hey look, this is us getting attention. We exist, we're pissed off. You've got a lot of issues to resolve, and if you can't resolve them, we're leaving. I don't think the North Island and Wellingtonian Government can resolve the long-standing issues, so we're leaving. That's my opinion. Politics is just a really good public springboard to go, hey, we exist. So, yeah, in a nutshell, that is my wee, I suppose, video essay on the issue. That's everything just off the top of my head. There's a lot more details in the book, which I will release as soon as I am happy with it. We've got a few people contributing to it. Obviously, if you have any questions, please let me know. My name is Solomon Tor-Kilsen, and those are a few of my reasons for why I think the South Island can and should go independent, and why it would be more than reasonable and capable of doing so. Right. Cheers, guys. We'll see you later.